The Almost Perfect Podcast.
Welcome to the Almost Perfect Podcast, a celebration of fuck-ups, failures, and falling flat on your face. This is a podcast that believes you can learn from experience, but that experience doesn't have to be your own. Hi, I'm Bob Perfect, and I'm a functional fuck-up. Let's learn from somebody else's mistakes. And today we're going to be learning from Simmi Areff. Now, Simmi is a podcaster, he's a comedian, I think he's an investor, and he compartmentalizes things well, is something that he brings up in this podcast. So other than that, I don't really know all the things that Simmi Areff does, but the things that I love about him are definitely his podcast and his comedy and his friendship, because we are actually friends, and so we give each other a lot of stick on this podcast. We take jabs at each other, and it's quite a fun one in that regard. Yeah, like I really do appreciate Simmi's work. Enjoy his podcast. He's got one called Lesser Known Somebodies, which you should check out if you haven't yet. He's interviewed tons of people, some of whom you've heard on this podcast as well. But yeah, he's laying the foundation for, comedians to pick up microphones and start interviewing people in South Africa. And, he's been a bit of a trailblazer in the comedy scene as well, in that he does things on his own terms. He kind of circumnavigates the conventional routes that other people are taking in the industry. He sets up his own gigs, he does his own things. He's even now done a one-man show called Lesser Known Somebodies, and that is on Showmax. I think it's on Showmax already. If it's not, it will be soon. He mentions 21 January in the podcast, I think, but that's not, well, I don't know if it did happen or is going to happen, but that's the thing that's happening, or has happened. It's weird how time works. Anyway, so we get into all of that, how he did it. We get into the podcast, we get into the industry, we get into a whole host of different things, and how Simmi actually, does things. And he definitely does things a little bit differently to everyone else, which is something I think we can all appreciate. I mean, he's caused a few hassles in his own life from some of the things he does and says, like myself as well. So we're kindred spirits in that own way, even though it's different things that we say that get us into trouble sometimes. But he still seems to manage to make his own thing work despite that. And that's what's pretty cool. We kind of discuss him making himself a pariah or being a pariah right in the beginning, but we move past all of that and we get into, like I say, a whole host of discussions. But just a note at the end, we mentioned that we'll be doing gigs in Josie, a two-man show in February, but we're not actually going to be doing that. We're doing it in Josie and Durban. We're not going to be doing that in Feb. We're going to be doing that a little bit later in the year, but I am still actually going to be in Joburg from the 14th of Feb to a week later. Not quite the 21st. It'll be the 20th. I'll be coming back to Durban. And the only gig I have at the moment is at the Melville Comedy Club. That's going to be on the 16th of February, so you can come and check me out there. For now, I'll see if I can hook up any other gigs. If you're a promoter, let me know. My email address, almostperfectpod@gmail.com. Or just find me on the social medias. Other than that, you can support the podcast by going to Facebook. We've got a page there called The Almost Perfect Podcast. Weird, I know, but that's what it's called. Go like that if you like this. And if you really like this, you can also contribute a little bit of cash. You can subscribe via Patreon. Patreon.com/almostperfect is where you can get a little bit more out of this podcast. You can interact with it a little bit more. The different levels mean you can suggest podcast guests. You can also ask them questions. You can ask me questions, which I'll answer. Eventually, I'm going to be doing a post-amble, where this is called a preamble. So I'm going to be doing a post-amble afterwards. Not today, but eventually, where we'll get into things. I don't know what things, but, not the things that are in the intro, I guess. So, yeah, that's a place where you'll be able to interact more with the podcast. And also, I'll be doing giveaways and stuff. Mostly stuff from my sponsors. I'm sponsored by The Unseen Shop and Poison City Brewing. So, you'll get some beer and some games for now. That's, I think, a cool thing. I like beer and games. I'm sure you do too. If you don't, that's fine. I won't give you beer and games. You can still do the other things on the Patreon. And I'll think of other ways to, just make it a cool vibe and a cool space. But mostly it's just a way for you to contribute back to the podcast if you enjoy it. And it will allow me to eventually have enough budget to hire someone professional to actually edit this, because at the moment I do all of it. And, maybe get a producer involved, maybe make it a bit of a tighter, better show as time goes on. And you can all be a part of that at patreon.com/almostperfect. And now that I got that out the way, he has this podcast with Simmi Areff. There you go.
Just waiting. Welcome to Africa's 8th Best Podcast with me, Simmi Areff.
And me,
Today,
Bob, the first repeat guest on your podcast.
I edited you out of that podcast, Doc.
Yeah, that's
That
what
one
I'm
that-
saying. I'm now the repeat
yeah.
guest.
Okay, yeah.
I know you edited me out. I was
Yeah.
listening for
You're
my
listening
parts.
for yourself. And I was just like, you know what? This guy doesn't deserve to be on my podcast twice.
That's fucking bullshit. Why not?
That's literally it.
Just I don't deserve to.
Yeah.
You're being like
I
promoters
really-
in this country now.
Can I tell you why actually it was? There was another guy also edited out of their podcast. It was a white guy that, like, he was missing teeth and stuff. And he got into an accident, but he also performed comedy that night.
Oh,
And
80, yes.
Yeah, and he came and he just was stupid. And I was just like, he just gave such a bad name for white people that I just took you out of that as well. I was just
So this is guilty by association.
yeah, I was almost like Bob needs to apologize for his people.
I apologize for my people all the
Thank you.
time, man. Yeah, so look at you being a gatekeeper, hey?
I don't want to speak about that.
You don't want to speak about
No,
that.
not that I want to speak about it. It's just like it's the most boring conversation to me now.
I guess you've had it a few times now.
Yeah, I'm just like every single person is like when they see me. Firstly, it's like they see like someone they haven't seen in a long time. So, like, I think people. I didn't know that I died in my own industry. I was just like, I didn't know there was a funeral for me and stuff like that. So when people see me, like, what do you mean you're still alive? I thought you were dead.
Do you feel like you became a bit of a pariah over the last 2 years or so?
I feel like a pariah, but I mean, like, I feel like you can also make yourself a pariah.
And do you feel like you've made yourself a pariah then? Or do you think it's a combination?
I think it's a combination of bullies and people not being able to respond to an argument or respond to an opinion. I always find it weird that like some people are meant to have opinions,
But
and
others
then-
aren't.
And then no, others aren't, and it's weird because someone said I was doing this interview and someone said the
Yeah, it all
other day-
depends on your level of fame.
yeah, and they're talking about opinions, and then I was just like, yeah, but you know, they're like, it doesn't matter because all opinions are just opinions. I was like, yeah, but opinions are, you know, if your opinion was like murder is legal, and then my opinion was like it's illegal.
One of you is correct.
One
there.
of us are correct there, you know. So I just like sometimes I find people's opinions shit, and like, and everybody has an opinion, but I feel like in our industry it can be swayed so easily.
Yeah, and I also feel like in our industry, your opinion can really put a target on your back.
I
like,
don't know.
Well, I've found by podcasting, by Neil's and my podcast, by seeing stuff that you've done and said and stuff over the years, there really does seem to be a culture of shut the fuck up. This
Yeah.
isn't for you to talk about. This isn't, if you're a smaller comic, if you're someone who's not, you know, on the top level making all the big bucks, then you don't really get to have an opinion. And if you do get to have an opinion, then you don't get gigs.
It's like Warren used to have this blog years ago, Warren Robertson.
Yeah, I remember.
And he used to just tell people, start your own blog, which is true. So I was
I
like,
mean, I literally did.
yeah, it was like, so people like, start your own podcast. I mean, also at the same time, you that podcast that you and Neil recorded, it was funny. There were some funny moments in it.
Yeah, I thought we said a lot of cool stuff, and we've had.
Why did you stop it?
No, we're still doing the podcast. It's just a matter of scheduling and stuff. But
Oh,
we're
okay.
definitely not going in as hard on the truth anymore.
Can I tell you how I know only comedians listen to that podcast and no one else?
Trust me, I know as well.
Neil Green works for East Coast Radio. Literally spoke shit about Dion Governor, who also works at East Coast Radio.
and then takes photos with them. like-
And no one at East Coast Radio gave a fuck.
yeah, the East Coast are just happy he's doing a podcast, but I don't think they listen to it.
There we go.
Nah, but
There we go.
that's the thing. We have been-
Put it in contrasting, right? I did listen on Somebody's at your festival.
yeah.
I spoke about Dion Governor there. I had that podcast with Jacaranda. They had we had a deal going on.
So is this just a subtle humble brag here that your
No.
podcast is listened to and ours isn't?
Yeah, well, basically, I can tell you about the numbers. I'm confident, but I'm just like the Diane McPherson who works at East Coast Radio that's heading up the digital side of Jacaranda stuff, right?
Okay.
Listen to my podcast and says, Simmi, you can't say that about Dion, and then I no longer have a podcast on Jacaranda. Guys, in this discussion with Bob, clearly because he hasn't really even introduced me on his own podcast.
Well, you get introduced in the preamble.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Also, people know who you are. People are listening to us because they know you, not because they know me.
I always struggle with that thing. I'm actually started to think that less people know me these days than ever before.
Well, you haven't been on TV in a while. You're not putting out as many podcasts. You're not really rabble-rousing as much. What are you doing?
Living. You know how many fun and wonderful things there are to do in a day? I was speaking to a couple of, Eric Jansen. Eric Jansen came to the bakery. I hang out at my friend's bakery every single day, right? And he's just like, yo, I want to do something else other than comedy while I still do comedy and stuff. I was like, yeah, you can. And he's like, what? I was just like, well, what do you want to do? And he wanted to do some acting. So I hooked him up with this agency, Gano, right? And then but I told him, and like I tell lots of people, there's so many things that you can do in a day.
Yep.
Comedy is like the smallest amount of them.
Well, I mean, it depends. You could spend more time writing depending on who you are.
Yeah, but some people aren't good. The vast majority of comedians aren't good writers. There's actually a handful of us that are actually really good.
That's actually pretty true.
I used to worry about like a new wave of comedians coming and being better than like an old wave. And actually what it is just like you get a new wave and there'll be 3 or 4 people that are really, really funny. And
So
then
do you think South African comedians are better like at their onstage personas than they are at writing their jokes? Or are they good at off-the-cuff stuff? What do you mean by that? Because like there are some comedians that I watch when they're on stage. I'm like, yeah, this guy's good on stage, but I don't connect with the material as much.
put it like this, right? People like, they'll be fans of me, right? But they'll be fans of me regardless of what I say on stage, whatever I write and stuff.
I've got a few people like that, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean in the sense that I know the stuff that I write and want to perform, which is different than other people's stuff. Oh wait, let me try to give it a better analogy.
I feel like I'm gonna relate to what you say, because yeah,
I'm just like, there's a lot of shit comedians out there, but the fact that people still remember me in a comedy club and will put me on in a comedy club means that I've made enough of an impression. Go, okay, that guy is quality.
you think so?
Yeah.
You think it's just because you're quality? Like, is there no other aspects? Because you're saying there's people that are shit that get the same slots as you.
Yeah, but I mean, you have to fill up a lineup somehow. You do, or you can do what other people do, or like what I do is just like I'll just do my own shows.
Yeah.
I don't care much for lineups.
Actually, you know what I want to? Yeah, I'm kind of getting into that spot as well, because
Well, you can't.
because the thing is, when you do like comedy, like we do, even though we're very different in our
Yeah.
styles and stuff, but I'm also like, my style's very different to what anyone else does on a night. I've got different style of like just telling my jokes in
Yeah.
comparison, because everyone else is a bit more, hey, how are you? And I'm just kind of a stand and deliver kind of guy
Yeah.
a lot of the time, and not just a punny stand and deliver kind of guy. And so I find myself, like feeling awkward on lineups and feeling like I'm not connecting as well as if I could just get
I
my
don't care
own
about
audiences.
lineups. I don't care about lineups. Bob, why are you sweating so much?
Because it's fucking hot.
Bro,
And I
it
just-
is not that hot here.
Yeah.
We are in an aircon exclusive box.
Yeah, it's the coffee and just in general.
Maybe your body's not used to a few podcasting, or maybe your body's
Oh,
not
is
used
my body
to
not
me.
used to
You
podcasting?
see,
I'm getting an allergic reaction to you, Simmi.
how do I say this? As a pioneer as
Of
they
the
call me.
podcasting industry
Which is
in
weird
South
because
Africa.
Do you know how many emails I get from people saying, hey, can you help me set up an RSS feed? Or, hey, I want to get into podcast. I get so many.
Cool. I'm going to be doing a live read for Anchor. That's probably going to be at the end of this. So if you want to start podcasting, listen to the live read at the end of this.
How does that Anchor thing work?
You just upload your thing and they put it everywhere.
Fuck, man, I wish I did that, because I'm trying to get my thing on Spotify.
Well, yeah, they submit it for you. Like,
Yeah, but I've already submitted it via SoundCloud.
okay. Well, I mean, it should, like, Spotify generally, like, it takes a week or so.
Oh, okay.
Apple was the one that took way longer.
I'm already on Apple.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because, yeah, Spotify's pretty dope. I find that's where I get most of the listens for this podcast from.
Well, I should try that.
Yeah. I mean, it's because most people these days have, like, the Spotify app on their phone. They have
Yeah.
it on, and, you know, the being able to
Yeah.
go all over. But, yeah, man, so what I actually wanted to know is, how the fuck did you build your audience? Because you have been this outsider a lot of the time. And, you know, your podcast, you know, off the bat had a decent listenership. I mean, was it from TV and doing comedy and stuff before? Or did the podcast itself, was it radio? Was it a combination of everything? Because you're one of the few people who actually has like a legit fan base, but it's not based off of, you know, lots of TV or, you know, stuff like that.
I don't think it's radio, so I can cancel that one out, right? I do think I appealed to a Muslim market for a long period of time before, and a younger Muslim market, not like their parents and
Yeah,
stuff.
slightly more woke.
Yeah. So I brought a vast majority of young Muslims to my shows, because I was also their age or they were a bit younger at the time. So I was like my mid-20s when I realized I had a pretty big market with Muslim people. And I think it's also a combination of, I was managed by Osman at the time, and he also had a big Muslim database, so it was easy for me to promote and get fans that way.
And he's also just got big gigs, like in general. He does the Kings and Queens of comedy
and stuff. But I mean, like, other than that, like, so when we went down to Durban, I did those 5 nights. Remember, you had opened for me 2-3 years
at
ago?
The Playhouse,
at the Playhouse,
it was a really dope gig.
Yeah, so
I love that room.
the first night was a lot of people from university. Because I did a 2-for-1 special or something like that.
Yeah, I remember the night we did, there was actually quite a few older people there.
Yeah, there were a few older people
The
there.
weekend nights, yeah.
Yeah, but so I think it's that, and I also think it's...
so you think you were relatable to a younger audience of Muslims?
Yeah,
so
of
you
Muslims,
were, you were relating to them essentially.
Yeah, but I also realized that through them, because we had the same mindset, where it's just like we were much more diverse than what our like older bigoted cousins or uncles or aunts were.
Yeah.
So we'd have friends of color or different types of friends that may not just be Muslim. And then I did that. So like when I was doing Lesser Known Somebody, the show, when I was working it out at the beginning of March, I just remember looking up at the audience, and I had people from journalism there, like Nicholas Bauer and all these other journalists, and I had like people like Mike Sharman from Retroviral. I had Jacob Mashoko from 947, and I had...
And these are all very influential people.
I just had a lovely, diverse crowd of Muslim people and people that weren't Muslim, but all in the same kind of LSM in youth bracket.
Sure.
And I think it's also because...
You might be the only comedian, like, not a promoter, that uses the word LSM.
Yeah, but it's also a thing that I have to realize. So, like, when I make a show, I go, okay, cool, I want to put on the show to people, but how do I get people there that can afford it? Because certain people won't be able to afford 350 Rand a ticket, but maybe they'll afford 150 Rand a ticket. And I also know, and I think this has also contributed to the reason why I know my fans, is that I know the LSM of my fans. I know what my fans like. So, for example...
have you polled them?
No,
you just look.
If I I just look at the data on my Facebook page or my SoundCloud page, I can tell you the people that listen to my podcast, 65% of them are Apple users, and the other 35% are Android users. If I go to my iTunes account, if I go to my iTunes and I look at that data, I can tell you out of those 65%, how many of them have iPhone X's, iPhone 8s, iPhone 7s. None of them have iPhone 5s. So I can really tell you that my
So you know
LSM,
everyone there is making more than 10 grand a month.
Yeah, I can tell you the LSM. So you start, once you work out what your market is, but now you have to understand in South Africa that we have all these different types of markets, and we have like a new emerging market. So like you look at, there's such a big gap between LSM 7.
We'll get to that new emerging market.
And LSM 7 and someone that's like LSM 4. You know, there's like, we don't have a massive middle class. We have, you're either very rich or you're poor.
Yeah.
So, and I happen to appeal to a very high LSM group of people.
So do you not think you appeal to poor people?
I probably do, but like if I would love to go to Soweto Theatre and do like what Skulk does, where it's like 1 Rand a ticket.
Yeah.
You know, I'd love to do that. But I'm just like, okay, no one benefits from that. Personally for me, I was just like, booking the theatre is already 3,500 Rand. Then it'd be like, but you get to do the show. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. I'm just like, I also, like I was telling you before the podcast, I'm paying for parquet flooring now in my house. You know, I want nice things, but I think I will do it because I want to get the show out more and want to do more of that show.
Yeah, because I mean, one-man shows are a strange beast, because like some people do their one-man shows for like 3 years straight, but they only do like 5 of them, you know, do it 5 times over that course of period. Other people do their one-man show for 2 weeks and then that's it, done. So what's your plan with yours? Like, what do you think the longevity of a one-man show is? Like,
I don't know. I feel like it should be enough time for you to tour something.
But like,
unfortunately, here we don't have a lot of rooms to tour.
Yeah.
Also, as comedians, we're very bad at admin. So we go, okay, Durban, Cape Town, Johannesburg. And then we go like, okay, cool, I don't think I can do Joburg Theatre, I'll do Pop Art. Which is a cool theatre, but I mean, like, does it attract your LSM? I know personally, if I did Pop Art, none of my fans will come there.
What?
On the street parking? In town? You must be mad, guys.
Okay. These are things I don't think about.
Yeah, but I do. So, like, remember when we did Playhouse? You know, the biggest complaints I got was not the jokes, was not the comedy, was not the price.
Was the parking.
Was the parking. I had more people after the show come up to, because I'm also very friendly with my fans.
Yeah.
Like, I don't look at them as fans. I was like, yo, if you want to
Well, I was
speak,
gonna say, yeah, that word fans, like,
I
what is that? What is that
come hang
like?
out.
Like having fans?
I always treat them
I mean,
as just people.
Because I've got people who appreciate my work, but I don't think I've got any fans.
I look at everybody as an opportunity to speak to and become friends with. So I look at all my fans as my friends. I do. That's what I want them to be. So like we were walking over here and there was that Lint store.
Yeah.
I was just like, I wanted to speak to those people because I enjoy speaking to the people. We came here to the exclusive books to the Seattle. I wanted to speak to this guy. You heard him. He said, I think I know you from somewhere.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, nah, you don't know me from somewhere.
But
I'm
here
just
I
like,
am.
But I want to speak to you. So I enjoy speaking to people.
Listen, people listening to this don't know, but walking around with you can be pretty entertaining because you do just start random conversations with people.
Yeah, and I love doing that. And so I recently had this. I was at my friend's bakery again, and I was sleeping on the couch. I was tired from God knows fucking what, and I get woken up by this girl, and she's like, "Hey, Simmi," and I'm like, "Yeah." She's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry to disturb you. I'm such a fan. Can I take a photo?" And I'm just like, "Yeah, okay," wiping my eyes and stuff. And then I was like, "Wait, hold on a second before we take this photo. Sit down." I made her sit down. We had coffee. She had her boyfriend with. So I was just like, okay, let's finish up this coffee quickly then. And then took a photo with them. I mean, like, but so like, I never really look at them as fans. I just want people to be friends. It's like I said earlier on as well. When I make a show, I go, what must I charge for my friends to come over here and have a good time with their friends?
Yeah.
And for me to make enough money for me to at least pay my bond or buy something nice. So it's just a cycle of my friends.
That's also
supporting
an interesting thing you just said there. Pay your bond. Are you paying your bond off of comedy?
me. Yeah.
You are, one of like 20 people maybe in the country doing that?
I think there's more. People just don't talk about how, as comedians in this country, we don't like speaking about how we make our money.
That's true, because most of it's not from comedy.
Yeah, it's the only country in the world where you can be a comedian but you do everything else.
Yeah, what's not the
Where it's
only
like,
country?
like I'm
but-
radio and I'm on TV and I do this and I do that and I'm at an advertising agency and I'm a film director, and I was like, yeah, but what? And then we go, but can you please put your job title on the form? Comedian, okay, but
But that's not the
when's
thing
last
that you're
time
paying tax on, is it?
Yeah, it's like I'm a producer or I'm a show events manager.
It's weird though, because I mean, like on one of the previous podcasts, I was chatting to Louis de Villiers, and he was saying like when he's in America, what was dope about that was like people would say what they did artistically as the thing that they do, and their job was just like a throwaway thing. It's like, oh no, that's just the thing I do during the day, but I'm actually an artist and stuff. And I feel like, South African comedians are kind of like that. A lot of comedians are, not making a lot of money out of this. Probably costs them more to do gigs a lot of the time. I'm speaking from experience. And,
I'll tell you one thing.
Yeah.
I don't like speaking on behalf of South African comedians because I know they live a different life to me.
Yeah, lots of people. Well, there's so many different levels
Well,
in this
firstly, I
thing.
have a car.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
very different to
And
most of us.
secondly, I have a house.
That's very different to most of us.
And so my set of problems is different to theirs.
But do you then? So then this actually kind of brings up the thing of is there a disconnect then between the people at the top and the people at the bottom? Like the people, because that's what I'm finding is there's not as much understanding of like what it takes to be an up and coming comedian these days, how hard it can be. Like I feel like people who have made it now, think that it's as easy as they had it maybe, or just I don't know where I'm getting
I
with
don't
this, to be
know.
honest.
On Instagram, right? I have a friend, and she's very big on Instagram. She has like 300,000 followers, right? The reason is because she was an early adopter.
Yeah.
She was one of the first few people to have Instagram in South Africa, so that's when any new South African joined, they would follow her, right? And if you look at older comedians, much more established comedians, they were early adopters to it, right? They were the first to pioneer a way into it.
Yeah,
So
and some of that
course-
was very good.
Yeah,
Some of it.
No, but I mean, it's still very good because they pioneered a way for it. So if it wasn't for the likes of Riyadh,
Yeah.
I wouldn't have found a small part of my audience with Riyadh.
But yeah, I mean, if it wasn't for like stuff like the Pure Minati show,
Yeah,
like
stuff-
the Fat Joe show, stuff like that,
But
yeah.
like, so you go, okay, cool. They're early adopters, so of course they'll have the vast majority of fans, and then you get enigmas that come through where people's talent really shine and be like, oh, I'm a fan of them. I don't know why, like as South African comedians, we treat each other like Premier League teams, where we just must be competitive all the time.
Yep.
One of us needs to be relegated every year,
Yeah.
every season, and I'm just like, I don't understand the competitiveness, and I also understand why people want to hang on with comedians all the time. Everybody sounds the same.
Yep. This is the big issue that, I mean, we discuss this sometimes. Like,
Yeah, I always tell people like, yo, hang out with other people. And I'm not the funniest comedian in the country, but nor am I the funniest person with my friends.
who's the funniest comedian in the
Eugene
country?
Quasar.
Eugene Quasar.
Yeah,
You guys are good friends, though. Is there no bias there?
Nah. He's legit. You'd struggle to find someone that doesn't agree.
And has he helped you with your career? Have you guys helped each other with careers? Because, like, I don't know
Well, you
your
see-
guys' story, because I know
well,
you guys
Eugene-
had a really tight bond for a while, but publicly it doesn't. You're not as hyping each other up as much anymore.
Well, I'm
on
not doing
Twitter.
as many gigs.
Yeah,
but
okay.
also he's my friend. I mean, only comedians would think that you need to be friends with the person, you must hype them up.
No, I know,
I
but
spoke
there
to
was
Eugene today,
there was just that
and-
period where you guys were like
Because
hyping
we're
each other
doing
for a
gigs
while.
together,
Yeah.
guys. I mean, come on. That's such a silly, that's such an illogical assumption to make. So I'm just like, firstly, Eugene and I are very good friends. It has nothing to do with comedy. I'm speaking to him about Red Dead Redemption. That's what I'm speaking to him about. I spoke to him the day before about getting a Rain SIM card because of the data
The
deals.
data deals,
These
yeah.
are not conversations that most comedians, when I see you, right? You and I are friends, but we speak more about comedy than we do about anything else.
A lot of the time, but it's because I like to pick your brain about stuff.
Yeah, but I'm just like, I know you. I know more things about Bob Perfect outside of comedy than Bob probably knows about me outside of comedy.
Maybe. Probably.
Okay, yeah. No, I know it because when I said, are you staying in Kempton Park? That's where your mother stays, right?
Well, she stays in the
on-
east. It's
yeah,
not
she
actually
stays in-
Kempton Park.
Okay, cool. But I was just like, I knew kind of where the area was. Then I was just like, you only found out where I stayed the other day. In fact, you can't even
Well,
remember.
I can't, but I don't know where anyone stays. But I do remember roughly where you stayed because the last time where you picked me up from was nearby there, and that was. See, I don't even remember where I was the last time because Joburg's got like 30 different fucking suburbs
so
in the
I'm
space
just
of 5 meters.
I know so much more about you. I know that your girlfriend takes wonderful photos and she sells those photos.
Yeah, but you also hide your girlfriends from the public, so I don't know anything about. I try to chat to you about your girlfriends. I try to chat to you about these things. Exactly, that's the thing. I try. You. That's also the thing is you can be a little mysterious motherfucker.
I
You do try.
compartmentalize very well.
Exactly. So you can't say that I don't know as much about you when you're not as revealing as I am.
But I don't. But if you ask me a question, I would always give you an answer. It's like I know that the one thing that I do very well is I compartmentalize everybody and everything, because I prefer
Wow.
it that way. I prefer it that way.
But why do you prefer it that way?
I think some of my friends can't hang out with my other friends. I just think they won't match. It's like oil and fire. Maybe they just won't get along. That's why when it's my birthday, I have many birthday parties. I don't just have a dinner where everybody's involved. It's not like that. I like compartmentalizing things, and I also like having a lot of space. I got into a fight with a girl just the other day because I said, yo, what if we're together? And then one day, after like we're hanging out for a bit, I'm like, yo, I want to hang out by myself for 3 hours. And she got upset.
Well, I mean, she might have felt a bit slighted by that.
Yes, she did. But I also realized that how I don't understand social cues as well as I used to.
What's caused that? Is it the lack of hanging out with people? Is it by becoming a recluse, you're losing your ability to socialize?
Yeah, maybe. Or it's just like you get so used to doing working things out your own way,
Yeah.
right? So you just like you always think that your answer is the correct answer, and then when someone's like, "Yo, that's emotionally not good," you're like, oh, "I guess," but like you've managed to deal with it. So it's just so like when my mom hates it when we'll go for like lunch. And then I jump up, I'll pay the bill, and then I'll be like, gotta go. She's like, but we can still go shopping and stuff like that. Like, yeah, I didn't plan for shopping. She's like, yeah, but you said you planned to spend time with me. I was like, yeah, and we had coffee. I spent time with you. Now I'm going. She's like, what are you gonna do? Read a book.
Do you think you've become a bit harsher, like as you've gotten older?
On
like,
what?
well, just more blunt, I guess.
I think I come from a very privileged space for where I can be afforded to be blunt.
And how does that feel? Like, I mean, knowing that you come from a privileged space to do that.
It's fine.
Do you not feel like that maybe you're taking advantage of that space then? Because other people don't get it? Like,
well, no, I can only deal with the tools that I've been given.
Sure.
Unfortunately, I didn't choose that my mother was going to be a doctor. I didn't choose that she was going to earn the money, but I can also accept my privilege, recognize my privilege, never throw it in people's faces. But it also provides me with a platform where every night when I go home, I know that I am still protected, which is not a
Okay.
word, but I mean, like,
yeah.
if, for example, I can get into an argument with a person that I don't like and lose opportunities, but still have my principles and not swallow my pride and not like, I don't have to pander to them because I can go home, I'll sit down, I can hang with my dad, I can hang with my mom, and they'll die one day. But I mean, like, at the same time, I can sit at home and be like, okay, cool. I no longer work with this person. Let me find another way. I've got a support system that allows me to be confident with the things that I say. That being said, I'm not going out to upset people all the time. Like,
but you're less worried if what you say upsets someone. You see, this actually brings up an interesting parallel, because I'm the exact opposite. Like, I've got my own privileges, you know, being a white male. But in terms of that, I've never had that security. I've never had that. And so it's always been this weird thing for me of like, in the back of my mind, like, I'm like, you probably shouldn't say this if you'd like to make more money. But then I'm always like, but what's your actual opinion? What's the truth here? What do you really believe here? And that's my guiding principle a lot of the time. It's also because, to me, I've got more of a responsibility to myself and the audience, like whichever audience it is, but I always want to be honest with them. And so I always want to give them my true opinion. Dog. Nah, fuck that, dude. Too many too many people lie, dude. That's the problem.
I lie to them.
I'm sure you do. Like,
I lie to my audience all the time.
I mean, I lie in my jokes. Like, that's for sure.
I told them the other day that my sister died.
Why would you do that?
Well, because the concept for death for me is if someone literally physically dies or if they get married.
Okay.
So I was just like, yo, man. It's been good 27 years I've had my sister around, but she's gone. So
she joined the 27 club, eh?
Yeah, she's gone now. They're just like, and people were solemn about it. And I was like, oh, sorry, I forgot to tell you, she's getting married. She's not ready.
No.
And they're like, shit, thank God. And I was just like, yeah, so I don't, I try not to, like, can I tell you the one thing I do regret in my career?
Okay.
I regret not focusing on money earlier.
Really?
Yeah. I regret like having the starry-eyed view on stand-up comedy and not the view of, yo, I'm here to make Zak. If you're in my way, get out of it. I'm here to make Zak.
Fuck you, man. Like, this is exactly what Bo Burnham was singing about on Art is Dead.
I was just like, if I thought of Zak earlier on, I would never be speaking to you over here in this fucking exclusive box. I would be fucking jiving, dog.
No, well, as long as you can make that Zuck and then I could be your opening act, I'll be happy.
Hey, bro, you can. I told you, but I've always said you can always open for me. I have no problem with you opening.
Yeah, you're one of the few people. You're one of the few people that I'll offer that to anyway. Yeah. Like, I don't want to open for people.
I'm just like, yo, you're a funny person. You're the reason why I went down and did a whole festival, and I had a jive at that festival.
It was dope.
I had a very and you.
There were some things about it that really frustrated me, but
I mean, you also handled a lot of things in a remarkable way. Like, I can just say for me, before you talk about other comedians, I was just like, I am a very pedantic person about how many people buy tickets and how many people come to the show, and it's like 7:45, and I look into the Winston and there's fuck all people there, and I literally go up to you and I was like, Bob, there's no one here, and you literally said, yo, give it time. And when I went to start the show, I think there were about like 40 or 50 people there, you know, and it grew to like 60. So
yeah, but you also like stress the fuck out before your shows.
I do stress out before my shows because
you don't just stress out, you stress the fuck out.
Yeah, I do, because I want everything to go so well. Like Nadeem at the bakery, right? Because that's where I do a lot. I test a lot of my jokes out there because it's a lovely venue.
Is that where we're doing our 2-man?
Yeah, we'll do our 2-man there. Cool. And I was just like, you know, the day of the show, and I walk into the venue at like 7. The show's starting at 8. There's 4 people. And I go sit at the back, and I'm just like, yo, I don't know what's going on over here. And he's like, why do you stress at 7 o'clock if your show's at 8? And at 8:15, there's 60 people there sitting, eating burgers, having a good time. And sometimes maybe, and that's what I said.
It was with your show, I knew there would be people there. There are other ones where it's like, you know, there's definitely times at the Winston where I get there and like I want to kill myself, because it is that thing of just, what the fuck am I doing this for? I'm here every week. Yeah. There's 5 people. You know, there's more comedians than audience members. You know, is this really worthwhile? And then people throw stuff in my face all the fucking time as soon as they get like a little bit bigger.
Yeah. You guys in Durban are the funniest comedians ever. I just want to be added to WhatsApp groups that have Durban comedians.
Nah, dude, I've just been removing all the drama-ful people.
Can I have comps? No, bro, please, can you buy tickets? No, I want my fucking comps, Bob.
Yeah, you were in the group for the festival where one straight up just said, you know, fuck your festival.
I'm not coming to perform because you won't give me comps. Which is
it's like it's like you're getting paid.
Yeah.
Like, you're getting paid money.
But also, it's just like, yo, man, the tickets are like $20.
Yeah, they were very cheap.
So
like
jive a bit.
Because that's also the thing. Like, I understand the LSM. Like, I'm trying to appeal to. Because for me, it is also about like trying to appeal to. Well, not appeal to as many people, but provide something for as many people as possible to enjoy. So
yeah.
I don't want to price anyone out, but I
Yeah.
also understand the idea of setting a premium
Yeah.
gives people a perception. So
Yeah.
if you charge $100, people think they're going to get a
100
good
and
show.
good show, yeah.
Whereas you could do the exact same show for $50 and
Yeah.
you might get less people there.
Yeah.
Like, we actually kind of had this for Next Gen over the course of last weekend. It was a free show and it's the worst that Next Gen's been the whole year. When
Yeah.
it's $100, it's
Yeah.
packed.
Yeah, doc.
So, I mean, we're talking about the stuff, but you were talking about a new emerging markets in South Africa. What do you mean by that?
I can't even remember what the
That
conversation
was sorry. Yeah, that was just now. Like, you were saying, like, fuck. Like, do you see that there's new comics, new markets, or like, where do you see like the industry, man?
think-
Like, and not just the industry in terms of the comedians, but in terms of the audience.
I think everybody's struggling for money.
Yeah,
That is, and anybody that tells you differently is lying to you.
I think some people are struggling less, and they're making way more, but
Well,
they've
no,
also
they're just
increased their
Well, I always
costs.
put it like this: like, Bonang has a very expensive lifestyle,
Mm-hmm.
so she would struggle for money if she doesn't make her 200, 300,000 rand a month, whereas some people struggle for money and they don't make 3,000 rand a month. You
Yeah.
know? So I'm just like, people's lifestyles are different, but the vast majority of the industry, I think, is waiting to earn more.
And do you think they ever will, or like, do you
I don't
think there's
know.
that potential? Where do you see the future of this shit, man?
I don't
Because
know.
you're still doing it. Like, I
don't
mean, I
know.
know you're like disillusioned with stuff, but
I don't know. I just I want everybody. If you decide that you want to make money, you can. If you don't want to, then also that's fine.
I don't think anyone doesn't want to make money.
No,
Like,
there are people that don't want to make money. They just want to do the club gigs, and they're cool with that. And they think, or at least they think the formula is, if I do open spots at the clubs, and then look how pretty that girl is, though, for a second.
I'm not looking at
What up, mama?
anyone.
Yeah, so you look back second time, dog. She looked back a
Would
second
she look at
time.
you?
Yeah, well,
Cool.
she looked directly into my eyes.
Yeah,
Ooh.
I really don't need to look at other girls. Like, people look at my girlfriend when we're walking.
Okay, why do you have to keep on showing off about
Because
your girlfriend, dog?
I've even got jokes about it. I've got a hot ass girlfriend, dog.
Bro, why do you have to do that?
Because she's very hot. You know how I know she's hot? Because people congratulate me all the
Right,
fucking
well,
time.
can
I
tell
literally,
you the
I will
funny thing
be,
is?
I will be at a shopping center, and people will be like, "Is that your girlfriend?" And I'll be like, "Yes," and they will congratulate me.
I congratulated you for like a solid year, dog.
Everyone does.
Can I tell you why?
But she's an amazing person, and that's what irritates me. It's like, yes, she is pretty, but like, come on, man, she's just dope as fuck. I wouldn't be with her if she was just pretty. It's been 4
Can I
years.
tell you how funny when I did my show at your festival, you
Yeah.
guys were fighting?
Yeah.
So it was so weird because you were both at my show. She was taking photos of my show.
Yeah.
And you were just running it, and then I was like, "Yo, man, here's the money for Paige," and you're like, "Okay, I'll give it to her, but we're not speaking right now because." And I was like, "Huh? What?"
Yeah, we've had some fights.
I can't remember what I was saying, but
You were saying that there was a hot girl walking
No,
past.
before that.
But before that, we were talking about the future, and you were talking about people see
Oh, yeah,
club
just
gigs, open slots at the club gigs.
yeah,
and
so
then,
people think the formula is like I do open spots, and then I become an intermediate spot, and then I get booked for these club shows.
well,
and
that
I
is
earn
what
money.
we're sold.
Wait, and then I earn money from these clubs, and then from these clubs, people see me for corporates, and they'll book me for corporates, and then I do corporate comedy.
But corporate comedy is kind of the goal here, isn't it?
Well,
Which is what's
if that's
sad.
what- if that's
It's for
what
the
you
money.
I was speaking to Ryan when I was in Durban last, and
Ryan Hoddeth.
Hoddeth, yeah, and we both agree that there's a growing comedy contingent where the ceiling in South Africa is just too small for them. Because if you want to focus on your craft, you want
Yeah.
to focus on your craft. You don't want to focus on corporates. That's why I have no problem with people doing corporates. I mean, I know I do the odd corporate here and there, and I'm so picky with them. But like, I'm only trying to find a way that someone else somewhere in the future can replicate. Some other young kid that'll come at some point to be like, yo, I also face these problems. I would have faced the problems and find solutions to them. There's many ways to climb a mountain. I don't necessarily want to climb the mountain that involves the way of corporates and
Yep.
going to clubs.
You see, but this is why when I do talk to you, because also we don't get to hang out as much, like, because different cities.
Yeah, and also
that's
because
why,
I
like,
don't
I
like you as a person sometimes.
Sometimes.
Yeah, just
Same though,
thinking of-
motherfucker.
I think you're a fucking dickhead sometimes. And
Sometimes.
it's like-
Same though.
but
You,
every single
dude,
time I
that's
come
ironic
every
coming from
single
you.
time- Every single time I come to Durban, fuck, bro, I always have to WhatsApp you because I'm just like, yo, where the party at, though?
Yeah, and I don't fucking know anymore.
Bro, you did invite me to a cool-ass Halloween party, though. That thing was legit.
Which Halloween party?
The one
Oh,
at that
yes,
girl's
that
house,
one. Yeah,
lady's house.
yeah. The gentrifier's house, yes.
Oh, okay. Was that her name? Yo, that was a
Well-
dope-ass party, bro. They had like 7 performing acts. They had like all
Yeah,
these kids.
the
that
DJs
doing
was a vibe.
DJs. All these kids like doing Shaka Zulu type of impersonation.
Okay, so there was that one night that I knew where the party still was, but these days I don't really.
You're lying. I know you're lying because you're a liar. That's the main thing.
Did you not just hear me just now saying that I'm all about that honesty thing?
Yeah, but I know you're a liar.
Mm.
You see, you're becoming commercial. You just don't realize it.
I kind
You
of
don't know where the parties are? That's the first thing of someone that's becoming commercial that doesn't care because they're earning enough money to not know where the parties are.
I'm definitely
You
not earning enough
don't,
money.
You don't run your blog as frequently as you used to.
No, I shut it down.
You shut down Durban is yours.
Yes.
I'll buy that thing off you.
Okay, we can chat.
Okay. That's
I mean,
dope.
Yeah, I mean, if we've got decent like social media shit, so
Why don't you
that's-
put this podcast on there?
because I'm gonna be starting a new website.
Oh my gosh, Bob. What are you, in 2003 again?
No,
No one cares about what websites being started. Apps, baby. It's all about the apps.
no one cares about apps being started anymore.
Oh my gosh. Have you heard of this app called Uber?
I have heard of this app called Uber.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. So can you watch stand-up comedy on Uber? Can you
One day
can
you
you
will.
can you read my blog on Uber?
No one wants to read your shitty blog, Bob.
People, that's where
Bob,
you're
literally
wrong.
The first,
That's
the
where
first
you're wrong.
comment
That's
in all
the-
of your blogs. No one wants to read your shitty blog.
Which is weird
Bob.
because someone literally just read it to write that, and that's the thing. That's where I know the stats,
Oh.
and I know I'm read. I know I'm very well read in this country,
know that-
and that's the reason why I get hired to write. Like people read my shit.
You also write about Magic the Gathering, so
No, I
no one
don't.
fucking cares about that.
I
Bob.
don't write about
Bob,
Magic
basically
the
what I'm trying to
Gathering,
say, your
but
life is shit, and
it is
if
pretty
it wasn't
shit.
for your girlfriend,
That's true.
we wouldn't have anything to congratulate you about.
Fuck you. I've got a whole entire fucking comedy festival that I started on my ace,
Oh, okay.
and I featured on a Jaden Daniels song. So
I love that kid so much, dog.
Yeah,
I love
Jaden's
that
the
kid
shit.
so much.
so why you coming at me here, dog?
I just like teasing you, Bob.
I know.
I tease the ones I love the most.
Yeah, apparently you meant to roast the ones you love, but judging by the South African like roasts, that's not true.
Hey, shame. Can I say one thing?
Yeah.
The last roast battle, right? Yo, my friend Eric Jansen.
Yeah.
I hope he listens to this. Yo, he died so hard in that thing. Jesus, I felt for that child. And he beat me in the first one, but this one, eish. And can I tell you where it hurt me even more?
Were
I
you
saw
in
it-
the roast battle?
The first one. I didn't do the second
But
season.
that is honestly the one thing I really want a slot on, because that's where I feel like
Just
I can.
speak to the guys from Comedy Central.
I don't know who speaks about it. We'll chat after this, because
Literally just email somebody at Comedy Central, or just like you go to their Twitter feed
'Cause-
and say, "Hey, admin, please follow me," and then the admin will
they do follow
you.
me already, I think.
Yeah, and then you drop them a DM going, "Hey, I'm a Durban comedian. I'd like to be part of this thing in the future."
Yeah, because I mean, I saw the AKA roasters coming. I was just like,
There's
that.
an AKA roast
Like
coming?
that would be my dream, dog.
that's
Like
dope,
I could write a book of roast for that dude. Like just because like
I love AKA.
I appreciate his music, yeah, but his personality, that whole like
I love his personality.
no,
as
the
well.
dude fucking watches too much wrestling, dude.
I love his
He
personality.
watches too much wrestling. He's playing the heel like thing far
Yeah,
too
but
much.
I love his personality. It's like
Like his real personality is probably pretty dope. I hear he's a very nice guy, but his online personality is just this
That's
like
dope. I wanna
it's
be
just this
that.
meme thing. It's
I
just
want to
this.
be that.
He's very good at like that's what he's smart at. And
I want to do that.
I mean, you kind of have done that though. Like over the years, like at times you were a little bit more incendiary. Like,
I feel like I still am, but it's like I said, it's because I.
but now no one's listening to you.
Yeah, I guess so.
But
But if
people are
it's not-
going to be seeing you pretty soonish
Yeah,
on TV.
January 21st on channel 103. Lesser Known Somebody premieres on Mnet and DSTV and Showmax and stuff like that.
And what is Lesser Known Somebody? Because I heard it was a podcast, but
Well, Lesser Known Somebodies is the podcast.
Oh, okay.
This Lesser Known Somebody is just the name of my one-man show that I recorded in the most independent way. Recorded it by myself, edited by myself.
did you did the edit?
Yeah,
Fuck.
I did the edit because I saw the biggest problem when I watched like some of the stand-up that's shot, right, is that the edit is horrible. Like they
Yeah.
never watched like overseas stand-up, like a good show, and then and found other angles to get the shots. Like they always use like this super wide shot or super close-up shot, and like they,
Yeah, you can use different angles.
yeah,
you can,
and they interchange it like every minute 30, whereas you should interchange it like during every line of the setup. and stuff. It's like, so I watched it and I was just like, cool, I'm going to edit it this way. And my friend Junaid, because he did the physical recording of it and he did the physical editing, I was just like, use this angle. But I kept on.
So you were in the editing room?
Yeah, all the time.
Yeah, that's important. I mean, I'm actually still...
I was in the sound room recording the sound, because I was just like, we recorded the sound off my Zoom recorder, which I use my podcast for.
Yeah.
This wasn't a big production.
Yeah, but Zooms are solid, dude.
Yeah,
like,
they are solid.
You can, for the inputs,
I laugh at it now, but we jippoed the Zoom so it would record.
It's a little racist.
No.
Jippo. It's gypsy.
No.
It's in Europe. It's very racist. But anyway.
Of course, a white person will tell me what's racist in Europe.
No, just yeah. Anyway.
So we jibbered the Zoom recorder to record from one channel of the sound, because the venue only had one speaker. Because it's a small room.
Yeah. This was at the
Comedy House,
where they don't have that anymore.
They don't have
unfortunately.
anymore. So you've got the speaker, one speaker, and then the other cord we connected the Zoom was to a boom mic that we borrowed so we could capture the audience laughter. So I'm just like, there's so many things I learned from recording this thing and editing this thing.
Dude, that's one issue that's with a lot of the stuff that's on South African TV. There's no laughter.
Yeah, there's no laughter, or it's canned, or they've used the laughter from another show.
Exactly,
which is fine though. But I mean, like, don't make it like noticeable.
No, there was like I was thinking it was on. You see, I don't have DSTV. The only time I ever watch it's when I'm visiting my mom. Yeah. So this week I've been watching comedy on TV and stuff, and I've just been picking up all these things. So I've just been like, shoddy as well.
So I learned the whole process, and in so doing, learning the whole process, if someone wants to record a show, and they're like, yo, I can't afford 80,000 rand, 60,000 rand, 40,000 rand, I want you to come to me. I want people to come to me so I can direct their shows, because I feel at least I've made a way where if you want to be independent enough, there is a way for you to do this thing. I did it by myself. I didn't approach anybody. It's the one thing I'm proud of with that show the most, is that I did that thing by myself. There's no one that can be like, oh, but Simmi, so-and-so helped you. I can thank Ryan Hardeth a lot, because without him, I wouldn't have been able to distribute that thing to Mnet. I went to him very late and I said, yo, I've got the show, please watch it. And he's like, oh, I don't know if we can sell it right now. And I was like, okay, cool. And then he phoned me and said, yo, we can do this thing. So I thank him. I'm eternally grateful for that, because it was a really shit 2018 and this really made it a great 2018.
Well, yeah, man. I mean, that's...
But I want to direct and record more, and record not just comedy things. Like, you know what I'm working on now?
You said you were working on a few things. Well,
one of the things I'm working on is making a horror movie.
Really?
Yeah.
Dope. Do
you know why?
That's something I want to do.
Blair Witch Project was like shot and made for like $13,000 US, and I think Warner Brothers picked it up, and they made 358 million from it. So I'm just like, and
you really are all about that Zuck at the moment.
I am all about that Zuck, because I don't want to die poor. I don't want to die like old.
But you're whatever, dude. You're dead.
No, but I don't.
Who cares how you die?
I don't want to be an old, like a 50-year-old man jumping on stage. I'm going to stop jumping on stage by the time I'm 40.
You see, I'm the exact opposite. Like, that's when I really want to start jumping on stage. That's when, dude, like when I'm like 50 or 60, that's all I want to do.
Nah, I don't know. I don't want to jump up on stage. When I'm 45, I want to be out.
Nah, you see, we have the exact opposite, like, idea of this thing. Then
why would you want to do? You could.
Because I'm going to know so much more. I'm gonna have so much more to say. I'm gonna.
Bob, you're gonna be dead. I've seen your future. I've seen your future. You are definitely gonna be dead.
Nah,
you're gonna do cocaine one of those days when you're like 42, 43.
I've done coke like twice this year. Like I'm like so beyond that shit.
You and Paige are gonna get into a small fight, right? When you in your 40s, and she's much younger than you, and she can still like get other handsome guys. And you gonna.
Thanks for saying other handsome guys. I appreciate that.
Yeah, she wouldn't.
You're just saying I'm handsome there.
Yeah, I don't know how.
I've got a good personality.
After the Gupta inquiry, state of capture inquiry, that's the next thing I want to apply for. Go straight to the public protector. How did Bob Perfect get someone so beautiful? We need to find it out. So she's gonna leave you, right?
There's a high probability that she'll be the one that leaves me.
Leave you, like for a divorce or something like that. But you guys are gonna have a small fight. There's a small lovers tiff. But because she's younger, she'll be like, yo, I'm just going to hang with my friends. You, because you're older, you'll be like, well, fuck this. I want to forget about this moment. You're going to do cocaine and you're going to die. Do
you really think a coke's what's going to kill me? Not a gun to my head.
No, probably service delivery is going to kill you, dog. The amount of time you complain about services, like the way you swear take a lot for no reason.
Not for no reason, bro. They gave me a really horrible experience. And
I have a Hans that works at Superbalist.
Yeah, dude, I've worked at fucking Superbalist. I've written for them.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, this Hans is a mamacita though. Sure, she's so good and
Yeah,
beautiful.
Hans as in a honey, not as an actual
can I
guy
show
named
you-
Hans.
No, can
No,
I
don't
show
want
you?
to-
Can I
no,
show you
we're
some
on
of
a
the photos?
podcast and we're actually talking about your one-man show.
Oh, okay.
Let's carry on with that quickly. So your one-man show, Lesser Known Somebody, shot at
Comedy House.
the Comedy House. It's going to be on Mnet.
Yes.
And how do you feel about that now? Like, because you must
I'm
feel very
proud.
proud, but are you not scared?
No, because I know the show's funny, and I know if I
So
know
there's
it-
no fear. There's
Nah,
no what.
I'm like, the only people that won't like it are people that I don't appeal to, and that's okay. I don't appeal to
Amen.
everybody.
Amen. Cool.
I don't appeal to everybody,
But-
but I know anybody that's intelligent, anybody that doesn't. No, really, I know anybody that's intelligent, anybody that understands the craft of humor, anybody that appreciates the craft of humor will enjoy that show, because that show doesn't have hacky material. That show doesn't have simple gags. That show is a wonderfully crafted show, shot in a small, intimate venue, shot well, produced well. So I know that any person that has a love of comedy that's higher than most will love that show.
And is that who you're trying to appeal to?
Well, I don't try to appeal to it.
That's
That's
who you-
unfortunately who I do appeal to.
But you're saying that you think about your LSM and that though. So when
do.
when you're writing,
But
do you
I-
not
I-
think like this joke's gonna hit with these kind of people?
Well, no, I did a very clever joke that didn't make it into the show because it's too clever for the current context of South African comedy. Like, so the joke is about how my dad, my dad gets upset that the acronym LGBTI,
Yeah.
they're taking more letters. So I see him sitting on the couch, I'm like, yo, why are you so upset? He's like, they took another one. I was like, who's they? He's like, they. I was like, hey, who's they? Because now
They
I'm
could
try-
be anyone.
Yeah, and he's like, the LGBT people. I was like, what did they take now? And he's like, they. I was like, okay, don't use they in that tone because now we've provided context. Okay, stop that. Just say they. He said, well, they now have LGBTIQ. And I was like, oh,
And A.
and A. And he goes, they've taken A as well. I was like, yeah. He's like, rest in peace, A. You with the angels now. So I was like, but why are you upset? He's like, no, we can't have so many. We can't just keep on losing letters. I'm like, you're not losing letters. They're just adding letters. He's like, yeah, but they can't keep on doing that. I was like, stop saying they. So he's miffed. But I see him go to his writing room. He comes back out. He's like, yo, I've got a plan. I was like, what's the plan? And he's like, I've written a new alphabet for them. I was like, don't call them them. He's like, I've written a new alphabet. And then I read this alphabet on stage. So it's like LGBTQIA, XYZ, WP. And it's really cool because at the end of it, it's like, so now I know my LGBs, but I don't know what they mean.
I think I heard you do this, yeah.
Yeah, I've done it. But like, it never ever lands as hard unless the room is like of a certain level of intelligence. Like it's never landed at the bakery. It's never landed there.
Wow, and that's your local.
And that's my local. But I did it. I
love
did
the way
it
you just throw people under the bus.
Oh, I don't care. But like I did it in Cape Town. And it landed so hard because I think they understood it more than my local did.
Well, there might be a bit more of a gay community there.
Yeah.
Like,
So it's just like, so I enjoy. So I don't see myself writing a joke that I know is dumbing down.
but do you find that's so? Do you not see that as a necessary evil in the comedy industry in South Africa?
What?
Dumbing down some of your material.
No, but people dumb down material all the time so they can
Yeah.
get, so they
that's what I'm
portray
asking.
themselves as funnier so they get other gigs.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm just like, if I don't need the gig, I'm safe. Kulega boy, don't
And-
worry about me.
And in that case, that privilege thing of but also now you've got your own money as well from comedy, like
Yeah.
selling the show, and that
Yeah.
gives you that level of
Yes.
comfort a little bit more
Yes, it does, because it's not like I was earning baller money in 2018 until 2008 is the first time my privilege didn't help me out in a financial sense.
Yeah.
I wasn't earning financial money from my privilege, but my privilege did help me in finding connections so I could do the thing that I wanted to do. So I shot that show, but I went to my friend Janaid. I was like, yo, I know you shoot so many things. Shoot this for me. I know the minimum requirement for me is 4K cameras
Yeah.
because I don't want to be shooting things in 3K.
And that's the thing, that you got the whole thing done for 9K is ridiculous,
Bro.
dude. Because even just hiring 4K cameras is about
Bro.
9K.
Bro, so I'm just like, and he's like, don't worry. And you know the thing is, this is where the 9K
So
went,
what is
right?
this, Junaid? What's his surname?
Samai.
Cool. We'll get his Instagram and stuff.
at
and put
J
it in.
Samurai.
Cool. There you go.
So the thing is, what I did is that this is what the $9,000 went for, right? I said, Junaid, you need to give me the cheapest price for this thing. He said, cool. And where it went was like 3,000 rand was for him, 3,000 rand was for me, and 3,000 rand was for our friend Dean Peterson, who was the second DOP, right? And what he did was,
Have you like not worked out a deal with it where he gets some like residual stuff?
no, we didn't know
'Cause
we
it's
didn't
gonna
know
sell.
we were gonna sell it. I was making it. Just
But now
because-
you're gonna send him a little bonus.
Yeah, he's my bra.
Yeah.
So what we did with the money was, right, the 3 grand I used was for my flight down there. I stayed at Junaid's house. He took the other 3 grand for himself to say, okay, let's go see what equipment we can hire. It's a boom mic we hired. And we paid for the pizzas that I provided the audience every night with that 3 grand, right?
Okay.
And he had about 1,200 left. Then he gave 3 grand to Dean Peterson and he's like, yo, this is the payment for you for those 2 nights. Then we, after the first night, we're sitting and smoking and smoking hookah pipe and having a good time. It was a mini party, knowing that we have a show the next day. And Janae's like, guys, everybody that's here, all our friends and stuff, was like, don't worry about paying. I've got this. And I was like, how do you have this? He's like, yo, man, from our budget of the 1,200 rand. Then Dean's like, oh, you guys aren't making money from this thing? I was like, no, none of us. Like, fuck it. The next night we had a bigger party. Like, yo, everybody have a good time, 3 grand. So if I think about that 9 grand though, inherently it was 9 grand we spent as friends. On a jaw. That came out with a really good product. And I'm all about that. That's what I said earlier on. If anybody is out there and listens and wants me to help them, I'm willing to help you because I want to add it to my portfolio. Because I know how good I am in that market. I know that I could become better in that market. And it's a thing I want to do.
So that is, but how do you then juggle that against the creative being that you are for comedy? Like, because you say you don't want to do comedy after 45 and that you're looking to get more into directorship and management and
other
stuff.
ways of making money via comedy.
But the thing is, see, but comedy is not just about making money. It's about performance. It's the whole thing of doing comedy.
If you want to
like
do stand-up, that's the performance part.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily forever want to do stand-up.
That's so weird to me. Like, I find it so hard to chat to a stand-up comedian who doesn't want to just always be doing stand-up comedy.
Because, okay, so my therapist the other day told me if I never jumped on stage again, would I consider myself a stand-up comedian? And the answer is always yes. Because I'll find other ways of making people laugh. For example, everybody thinks that if you want to be a stand-up, and this is probably true, if you do want to be a stand-up, you have to be on stage.
Yeah.
But if you want
to be a comedian, you can put stuff online.
Bro,
like.
I make my dad laugh every morning, and that is enough to guide me through the whole day. I feel fine.
Okay, I mean,
but I understand that you want to do stand up, and I respect it, and I accept
yeah. For
it.
me, like, I just want to be on stage a lot.
Yeah,
like,
and I'm happy for people that want to do that. I don't necessarily want to. I definitely want to only be on stage for 5 minutes. I definitely want to don't be on stage for 7 minutes.
Like, I love
10
having
minutes,
a mic.
15
See,
minutes.
that's what I hate. Is I don't mind 5-minute gigs too badly.
I do know
but
that
I prefer 20 to 30 to 40 to 50. Like,
so I tested out these new jokes this past weekend.
yeah, at the bakery.
Yeah, and I was just like, I enjoy doing longer sets, and I'm fine with doing longer sets. And other people, I have no problem with other people doing clubs. If that's the thing you want to do that thing. But you also can't be upset that I don't want to do clubs. You can't be upset that I don't agree with your formula. You can't be upset that I don't want to play your game. You can't be upset that I don't want to match what you're doing.
But then obviously you can't be upset that they don't like that you're doing
and
your
that's
thing.
fine.
Like,
I'm not upset if they hate me for doing my own thing. Yo, how could you hate a person for they're like, yo guys, I don't necessarily like this. I understand that you do, but I want to do something else. And how do you not? I don't understand. So I'm just like, I don't want to do those things. You can't give me shit if I'm just like, yo, I don't want to do those things. I find those things a level below me, or they don't help me as much as they used to.
yeah, you see, but that's the thing. Like, saying that like it's a level below you, people can construe that as arrogant. Like, a lot of
it
the
is
way
arrogant. I'm on stage by myself, Bob. When is stand-up comedy not being an arrogant thing?
Fair enough.
You're
but,
on stage
but
by
there's
yourself.
levels to it. Like,
of course, it's a layered thing. But when is stand-up comedy not an arrogant thing?
well, I mean, just art in general, performing it like
so why must
has a level of arrogance to it, I guess.
I just feel like people just want me to be like, yo, okay, cool, yeah, I accept that we should all be a clique and we should all shield each other's insecurities. Okay, you can do that as well. I'm fine with people doing that.
You just don't want to be a part of that.
I don't want to be a part of it.
But do you...
I don't complain about...
what caused this though? Because it was a time where you were not part of the get along gang, but you were getting along with people a lot better than you have in the last 2 years or so.
I don't know, you can listen to my podcast and find that out, but I'm
Okay.
just like, it's nothing big. People change all the time. People change all the time. People are you don't remain friends with the same people forever, and that's another okay thing. I don't know why people want to be friends with everybody forever. I was like,
Comfort,
I enjoy
and also people are dope.
Comfort, but I'm just like, I enjoy being by myself. I enjoy speaking to different people. all the time. I don't enjoy doing 5 minutes. I don't enjoy doing 10 minutes. I don't enjoy doing 12 minutes. It doesn't mean I won't do them. I'm doing Riyadh Musa and Friends on the 22nd of December. That's a 12 minutes. That's a 12 minutes gig for me. I do it because I'm just like, yo, that's a quick 6K I can make.
But you don't get any value or joy out of being on there.
Joy from that, but I'm just like, yo, I'm taking a flight the next day to Cape Town to record a live podcast. No, but I'm 6K richer.
Yeah, fair enough.
So I'm just like, I don't have a problem with people doing their things, and they shouldn't have a problem with me doing my things.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely fair enough. I just think at times you haven't just done your thing; you have said stuff as well. So that's why people might have got a bit upset.
So I don't understand. So when are we allowed to be vocal?
When
So
you're
if you don't toe the line, if you toe the line, you can be vocal. But if you don't toe the line, you're not allowed to be vocal. That's a silly concept to believe in.
dude, this is the stuff I'm dealing with at the moment.
So I was just like, but I'm okay with being vocal because, like I said, I have a great support system. I go home.
Yeah.
I would be like, Bob, fuck you. I put this mic down and I go home. And you can be like, wow, Simmi, fuck this guy. I can't believe he said this shit. Fuck this guy. Fuck this. And I'm just like, cool. You know what? My mother made chicken curry tonight. My bed is super soft. It's got new springs in it. It's a new fucking bed. I bought it with the money that I make from doing this thing that you clearly don't like. And now it's a 2-meter long bed.
Dude, one thing I've got to say is I really just love that, yeah, you've done it your way, man. You're the Frank Sinatra-ing the fuck out of the shit.
So I don't understand why people are... Nobody's allowed to have an opinion, guys. Unless the opinion is our opinion. Guys, that's such a sad concept.
Yeah,
I hate that people aren't educated as well.
In terms of?
I'm talking about normal formalized education.
Why? Why formalized?
Because sometimes people, when they jump into a microphone, they think the microphone is the degree.
Cool, I get you there, but I mean, you can still be educated without going to university.
Of course you can.
I mean,
if you read a lot.
I literally read like constantly.
Yes,
so yeah,
but
like
some people don't, and they just think because I speak into this microphone thing, this is my degree and that's my opinions are valid.
Actually, this is a great thing because that's also the thing is society itself sees comedians as being these smart people with these clever things to say about the world, and society looks to comedians for their their hot takes and to guide them essentially these days. And I think we're still like basically riding on Carlin's coattails with stuff like that. We're riding on guys who were smarter and said things, but these days a lot of comedians are trying to have a voice that's not really
I'm not here to be society's moral compass. I'm not. I'm here just to make things that are funny or just make things.
Okay, let's end with this. Why do you do comedy?
Because I have things to say. And I enjoy I seriously
but
enjoy
why comedy
making people laugh.
Okay.
I do. I have. It's an addiction for me to make people laugh. Whether that addiction gets solved by me doing it via stage, me doing it via Instagram, or me doing it via Twitter.
Because that's the thing, you do use lots of platforms.
Dad, or me sitting with a podcast, whatever. As long as that addiction is just fixed. That's the reason why I do it.
You just want to make people laugh.
Do I want to do it forever? No. Bro, other than writing a horror film, I'm writing a poetry book.
Cool. I mean, I've been doing that for years. But
I know, because I love poems. But you're the person because I was just like, when I saw you do poetry on stage years ago, I was like, I also want to do poetry on stage. Yeah. Now in the one man, there's a.
Oh yeah, I saw when you did.
Yeah, there's poems.
In Durban, yeah.
Yeah, there's poems in it, and there's some other there's some deep poems, there's some funny poems. Like I submitted this one for this writing fellowship. Well, it's such a silly thing, but I enjoy it. It's like
a fellowship.
Yeah, writing fellowship.
Yeah, I mean, so is that what you want to do next year?
I'm just like
whatever's available to you.
There's so much talent, right? Another thing South Africans do is that we're very insecure we have a low self-esteem when it comes to our own talent.
Yeah, you don't. You don't.
So
that's exactly you have like it's weird. Yeah, out of every stand-up comedian's country, I think you have the least amount of insecurities that are... I mean, you have insecurities, but they come out in different ways.
Yeah, in different ways.
Yeah.
But I don't have a low self-esteem.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, I'm not here to shelter other people's low self-esteem. I don't want to have a low self-esteem because I don't have a low self-esteem. So I'm just like, okay, cool. There's so many hours in my day. If I performed an hour of stand-up each night, great. That would be a great thing. But then you've still got... hours? Okay, 8 hours I'm going to sleep, right? 2-3 hours I'm going to use to eat.
You're going to play some PlayStation at some point?
Play some PlayStation. But I'm just like, if I say, let me take these 3 hours in a day. What do I want to do? Let me try work a bit on this horror script. Let me try look at my poems and write some new poetry. Let me search the internet to see where these things can take me.
Hey man, I'm similar to you.
Where I can get funding from these things.
Dude, that's the same thing. I fill up my day fucked.
Leon Schuster got a fucking movie out now called Fricky and I don't
Fear and
know.
Frank, or Frank and Fearless, yeah.
Which the government has paid Leon Schuster to make these movies. Guys, my guys, can I tell you what the saddest, my guys, my leaders, chiefs, do you know Leon Schuster? The government paid him to make one of the shittiest movies I've ever seen. The government paid him, dog. So there's money to be made from this thing. And that movie's not even funny. They had to
Of course
cut
it's
out
not funny.
everything.
It's a Leon Schuster film.
There we go. But I'm just like, so there's ways to make money and there's way to satisfy your craving of performing comedy. You know?
Fair enough. For me, like, yeah, I do for my day with lots of different creative pursuits. I do writing in the morning, radio in the afternoon, and then...
Well, you have to, because you have to impress your girlfriend.
Well, no, because I
So
got
she's
to pay
still-
rent.
She's still iffy on whether she wants to settle down with you.
We're fairly settled.
Oh,
4
boring.
years. 4 years. But we're doing some cool... Like, we're in a good
In
space.
Muslim
at the
marriage
moment.
years, that's 32 years of marriage, though.
Yeah, the cool thing is neither of us are really marriage people. Like, now that we don't believe in
boring.
it, we'll probably just be together.
Hey,
for-
have you told people
One
on this podcast what your real name is?
yeah, see, you don't listen to my podcast.
I
That's,
don't, bro.
that's sad, bro. That's...
I don't like your guests.
You don't like my...
I don't like your guests.
Oh, some people are going to take offense to that.
They're more than
Nah,
welcome to.
they won't.
I think the majority of them have been on my podcast anyway. So
That's
Bob is
not
basically
true.
just guys. Bob
There's
is
like,
basically just
what,
copying me.
There's the comedians. Those are the only people who are
Bob
similar.
is basically. Bob
You
is
can't.
basically just
Nah,
like-
you
he's
can't.
like,
You
yo,
can't have conversations about music the way I can have conversations about music or with musicians. That's the
You
thing.
back announced Ariana Grande. You think I care about your music? You taste now.
What do you mean?
You've changed, dog.
Ariana Grande is amazing. What do you mean? She's brilliant.
Yo, okay, Bob. Thank you. Next.
Yeah, great song.
Look how you sound when you
Although
say it, Bob.
breathing was fucking like breathing is definitely one of my favorite
Can
songs.
I
by
ask you
her.
another question about your time on radio? How
Sure.
do you not swear?
How do I not swear?
Yeah, because that's like for a
Uh,
guy that reads a lot. You sure know how to say fuck a lot.
I do. It's punctuation, bro. But I also worked as a primary school sports coach for 7 years.
Yeah,
So.
and that's going well. I saw you got an award and stuff. People give.
Oh no, that was years ago.
kids,
that was a
and
that was
kids' parents go like, Bob, you're such an inspiration to my child.
Yeah.
Thank you for teaching him how to bowl left-handed.
no, not exactly
Oh.
that. Like, I was thanked for giving her son more confidence in his abilities.
You gave a person confidence.
Yes, I'm a good coach. I'm very
Whoa.
good at like
Okay, coach me, Bob.
what in
Tell
cricket.
Me. No, tell me right now what I can do to change my life.
I don't know what the fuck you could do. You're not a fucking 7-year-old kid.
Treat me like I'm a 7-year-old child.
Okay, guys, listen up. What you're doing to this guy is not cool. We're all teammates here. We're all friends.
Is that how you speak to? Oh, that's pretty good though. I actually was vibing with you right there.
No, I'm all about the teammate thing. Like when I'm a sports coach, I'm all about the we're a team.
What
like
and what school do you coach at?
I don't coach anymore. I haven't coached in years.
Oh, sorry, Bob.
Yeah.
Big person.
And I'm
now.
also not going to say which school.
Oh, okay, yeah, because you don't want the parents to think that you're speaking shit about their children.
Lots of different things. I mean, I've said so much stuff. Like, it's been kind of crazy that, like, at the same time I was working at a school, I was saying and doing the things I was doing very publicly online and stuff.
Yeah, I remember.
So,
yeah.
interesting laugh.
Yeah.
You got anything else you want to say? Because I feel like from this conversation, the thing that a lot of people can take away is A, forge your own path if you want to. B, they can ask you for help.
Yeah.
And C, what would you say? What can people? What do you want people to get out of you in general? Because you want to help people, you want to make them laugh, but at the same time, it seems like you're a fucking misanthropic kind of guy.
Oh, misanthropy, my favorite thing in the world. You know, I want. You know, Willie Nelson had a song, right?
He had a few.
Yeah, to all the girls I've loved before.
Okay.
So I want to send a shout out to all the girls I've loved before. If you're listening to this podcast, I'm thinking of you. All of you, except that one person. Fuck you. No, I don't have anything else to say. I wish I could have made this podcast better for you.
No, it's been dope. It's been a fun.
I wish.
I think it's gonna get some people in their feelings as always.
I hope not. I have no time to fight with people. Just anybody that's upset with someone, I say just WhatsApp me so I can provide context. Come for coffee with me. I don't give a fuck.
So you're now willing to actually, or have you always been willing to just converse when people actually have issues with you?
Yeah, but you know how our people are. They will never.
They'll talk to everyone but you.
Yeah, but you. But I'm just like, yo, guys, you can. You know, I'm not dead. I'm still alive. I breathe. So I'm not dead. So I don't know why people. I'm not even joking, bro. I walked into a comedy club.
Your number hasn't changed.
It hasn't changed. You know, I walked into a comedy club and someone said, Simmi, what are you doing here? I was like,
What the fuck do you mean I'm a stand-up comedian?
yeah. I was like, I've come to watch some comedy. That's all I've come to do. And then every single time when I do watch comedy, then people always think like I'm Randall Abrahams, and I'm here to I'm here to go. You're making it through to Sun City.
Weirdly enough, I'll end on this. Randall Abrams is one of the reasons why we won the blog award that beat East Coast Radio.
And where's the blog award now?
It's still on my shelf
And
somewhere.
where's your blog now?
Oh, who cares?
And where's East Coast Radio now?
They've lost listenership constantly through the last decade.
Okay, but where are they now? Where's their blog right now?
What? Who cares about their blog?
Oh, okay.
Their blog never
What year
provided.
did you win that blog award?
A while ago.
You're living in the past. Like
I'm not
a
living
Liverpool
in
fan.
the Liverpool's literally number one at the moment, aren't they?
Yeah. Yeah. Right now, but the season only ends in May, my dog.
Cool. I don't follow soccer, so this
Yeah.
is going nowhere. Anyway,
Okay,
thank you
cool.
so much for
No
your
worries,
time,
dog.
bro. As always, I appreciate just your
Can I come
perspective
on
on
again?
life. Yes, of course. I'm gonna.
Because I feel like if you got me in a better mood.
That's the thing. You go today, you gotcha, and you're pretty fucking morose,
Yeah.
just from the start.
Yeah.
And
So
that's why I thought this was gonna be, it was a little bit of a bitchy session, but I definitely thought this was gonna be more of a
I don't have any
burn
bitch
the
about.
world down kind of thing.
No,
and
no, not at all. But maybe you can interview me in
After February, after January, or we're gonna do this.
Yeah.
We're gonna do a
Do a
live one
show,
of these.
yeah.
Basically, we'll do we're gonna be doing the what's it called? Almost perfect somebodies.
Yeah, Almost Perfect Somebodies, which is a dope name.
Which will be in February. Your birthday is on the 14th, so we're
yeah.
gonna do it on the 16th,
Yeah.
on the Friday, and then it'll be on the 23rd in Durban.
Okay,
so
cool.
sweet.